What's up, guys? It's Automotive Anonymous, and that is the 2023 Mazda CX-30 in poly gray metallic. It's a really good color. This one was generously borrowed by Goody Mazda in Southern Idaho. I'll link it below. Check them out. They're good people to work with. And what we're going to do is a walk around review, go through the specs, initial driving impressions, 0 to 60, and then final thoughts to see if this is worth your time and money. Right off the bat, these are really cool vehicles. I've driven a few of them. I've driven the trim level above this. This is the 4th of 7 trim levels. It's the 2nd highest non-turbo model. The next highest is the Premium S, and then you get the 2 turbo models. If you're interested, check those out. Otherwise, this CX-30, they started in 2020. They were the predecessor from the CX-3. The base model is only 23 grand, but this one is just under 30 grand, and then with Destination, it's closer to 31 grand. Red leather, heated mirrors, and 18-inch black rims in 215 55 18s is what those puppies wear. So that's what separates this as the Carbon Edition from some of the other trim levels. They have 6.9 inches of ground clearance, so not class leading, but with all-wheel drive, it's more than adequate. Driving around in the snow, it's been feeling very confident, inspiring. They weigh 3,000 to 3,300 pounds, so about 12 full-grown warthogs, if you can believe that. And then it gets 22 city, 30 highway with a 12.7 gallon tank. That's about 380 on the highway. It's 14.5 feet long, 5 feet tall, and about 6 feet wide. So it is the subcompact class. These compete against things like the Crosstrek, the HR-V, the Kia Seltos, things like that, but they feel more refined, more luxurious than a lot of the competition. Well, they're a top safety pick plus. Mazda sells about 60,000 of these a year in the US. Let's get into the cabin. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, you do get the chrome hockey stick design. That's about all the chrome this puppy has, so not too bad. It is a nice accent. Oh, and you do get a little bit on the rails. Can't forget that. Red stitching. It's foreshadowing of something. They're firm but supportive. The shiny piano black is a nice accent. Mazda buttons just always feel high class to me. Non-Bose speakers, you get just the regular, but you do get a big bottle holder and some snacks. Nothing on the door sill plate. Power options for the red seats. I did a CX5 of these just recently, and you know I really like these seats. Otherwise, we get rubberized pedals, we get a storage cubby, we get the hood release, we get memory seats, we get some extra buttons depending on your model. It will depend on how fancy it gets. Push button start. CX-30 in the middle. It automatically turns on the electronic parking brake. We're going to turn that off so it'll stop beeping at us. Non-Bose sounds good, but I don't get out of it wishing I could stay longer like I do with the Bose system in the turbo I just reviewed. We're going to turn that off. Mazda steering wheel, you got the info button. You can kind of go through a couple options there. You get your volume and your phone controls. You get your adaptive cruise control settings over here. Physical tactile buttons. You get heated seats on this one, but no heated steering wheel. You get a cubby. Get some cup holders. Play around in manual mode, but there's no shifters up here like there was on the turbo. You just gotta bump the shifter if you want to have some fun playing musical gears. You get sport mode. When you turn that on, you can see the little sport icon come up at the bottom. If there's not the glare, there you go. We'll turn that back off so you can see that disappear. And then you get the typical Mazda layout. You get the electronic parking brake, auto vehicle hold, back button, navigation if you have the card to set that up. You have your music, you have your home, you have whatever you set up with your start button, and then you have your volume, and when you hold it, the screen turns off. And then you do have the scrolly dial, one of Mazda's favorite features. Up top, we do have lighting. They are LEDs, which are really nice. You have the sunroof controls. We're gonna leave that closed though with how cold it is. And then you do have a glasses holder. Unless you can find something else good to keep up there, maybe a king-size Kit Kat. I bet that would fit. And then Mazda does a good job with the center consoles and the armrests in most of their vehicles. This one, you have the latch. You can grab that, slide it back, and lift it up. You have a pretty fair amount of room with 2 USBs and a 12 volt. Let's get behind ourselves. Let's see how we fit in the back of the CX-30. We are locked out, so this is a great opportunity to show you guys what the key looks like on the Mazda. It's the standard one currently. Mazda on the front, nothing on the back. Unlock, lock, and alarm hold. Looks like we got double unlock. Door panel looks good. Not as nice of materials as the premium and the turbo model I just reviewed, but the stitching, the armrests do feel good. That does feel high standard, high level, very refined. You have a decent sized cubby back here, but it's not huge. Nothing on the door sill. Red leather, and holy cow, is it beautiful. CX-30 seats to me always feel kind of heavy, but the 60-40 split works well. You can see you're gonna have to move the front seat up a little bit from my driving position if you want those to lay flat. Sitting behind herself, there's just barely enough room. I could do it for a while, but it would be a little bit tight, a little bit cramped after too long, especially if the driver is bigger than I am. You get some ventilation and you get some cup holders back here, but you don't get any storage like you would on the CX-5. Gas door on the driver's side, and then it's a manual lift. You have to go up a trim level if you want a better option than that. 20-ish cubic feet back here with the seats up. If you drop the seats, you get closer to 45. You do get some LED lighting back there, some hooks and tie downs, and then you get a temporary spare down here with the license plate holder. Check it out. You get all the tools you could need, and if that wasn't there, you could fit a blanket, a purse, a Merce, you know, some other little items like that. Or you have to throw it down old school, but you could also lock the vehicle that way, which is a nice feature to have. 6.9 inches of ground clearance, dual single tip exhaust. It gets the job done. Door panel looks identical. It's a top safety pick plus, so our backpack we know is gonna be okay. We're gonna try to avoid an incident today. Aren't we, little guy? Airbag, single map pocket. This car is just not big enough to be fighting over who gets to be the backseat driver. You better know your role before you hop in. Sitting in shotgun, not enough room for a shotgun, but you do get a nice handle, just like all the other passengers sitting by a door get. Nothing on the door sill plate, no power options, but dang, does that red leather look good. I wish this was an option on the turbo model. Non-locking glove box, dual shelf design. I don't see any 12 volts or anything in there, but it does look really good. Polymetal gray metallic sure is a cool color, especially on overcast days like today. But you guys know what's next. We're gonna pop the hood. Under the hood, we get a lot of goodies with the 186 horsepower, 2.5 naturally aspirated Skyactiv G. We get the air filter in the box, so the ducting to the throttle body, right to the intake, upper intake manifold, the runners to each cylinder. Very simple design. You get the battery, you get the red and the plus sign for the positive terminal, the negative terminal. You get the brake reservoir. You get some of the coolant piping with the radiator. You get the windshield washer fill. You get your alternator up top, serpentine belt on the left, exhaust manifold under the heat shield right there, and then if you can look really low, you could probably see the transmission, but I just see some of the shafting and the exhaust. There's a lot of room under here, a lot of things you could easily get to. 0W20, it's a different oil that it recommends compared to the turbo models. And then the dipstick, which you don't have to be a dip to use one of those. In fact, I recommend you do. Very cool. Let's drop the hood. Alright guys, we're going to teleport inside and go for the initial driving impressions and then 0 to 60, and I'll include the GPS with that. Initial driving impressions are that it's a fun vehicle to drive. It feels very refined, very sporty, light on its feet at just over 3,000 pounds. Visibility is as much as I could ask for. Just sitting in the cab, driving around for a while, it's really comfortable. All the soft touch materials I really can't complain with right now as they're new. They feel really good. The armrest is great. It's in a good position for the door panel and for the console, especially when you have it slid forward. If you have drinks, anything, you know, you need to reach the shifter for, change the dial, it's all just right there, right where you want it to be, and the armrest is big enough. that you can kind of move around, and you have plenty of room to kind of accommodate that. Lots of reserve there. It sounds good for a 2.5 liter engine. I think it feels faster than it probably is, but you'll see on the GPS what it does today. Normal mode. I'm glad Mazda's kept the 6-speed transmission and they haven't gone the CVT route. Of course the manual would do better, but we know that's not going to sell. That's why they've all disappeared. Not too big of blind spots on this in my opinion. The mirrors are large. They do a really good job. And the brakes. They're really good. That was maybe a third of the pedal. Driver position at 5'11", I feel really good. I have quite a bit of lumbar support up front. The heated seats are nice. I do like Mazda heated seats more than the Subarus I've been in. And overall, it's just a good vehicle. Well, let's get to the 0 to 60. Let's see how it does. 0 to 60, we are at about 2,100 feet of density altitude, so this vehicle's down on power about 7%. We are in sport mode. I'll brake rev it. The torque converter lets it go up to about 2,500 RPM, and then we'll see what it can do. I'll verbalize the true 0 to 60, and then the bottom left of the GPS graph afterwards, you can see what it actually did without the foot of rollout. That's the way the magazine rates it. Sounds good. Some wheel spin. And true 0 to 60, not bad, 8.7 seconds. I just did the same road with the Turbo Premium within the last hour, and if you're interested in what that did 0 to 60, check out the video, it's the full review. But otherwise, 8.7 is not bad on a day like today, where we live. Let's get to the final thoughts. Final thoughts of the 23 CX-30 in Carbon Edition trim is it is a fantastic vehicle, and I'm really glad that Mazda offers this, especially for about 30 grand, to get red leather seats, to get the ride quality, all-wheel drive, the capacity that this has. It's just a fantastic offering. It looks really stylish with the black and the chrome accents. The headlights, the taillights, they all look very aggressive. Those LEDs are very bright. You saw how it handles on the road. It's definitely not as fast as the Turbo. Those ones are 2.5 to 3 seconds faster on average in my testing. But this is a really good vehicle. They're very refined. They're very smooth. Honestly, if I didn't want the extra space in my Outback, I might consider something like this. They are a bit more tight and snug, especially for your backseat passengers. They better be friends if they're gonna get in the back seat together. That's all I'm gonna say. Of course, we have the black cladding. That's just in competition with Subaru and all the others who just can't shy away from that these days. But remember, this one's for sale in the description below. And if you like my video, if you like my content, there's new stuff coming out every week. Please consider liking, commenting, and subscribing. It helps the channel grow, and I really appreciate it. And I appreciate every one of you watching my video. Thank you guys. Take care.